All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today we are talking Kim Zolciak. Listen, I was not going to skip over this story. I just had to find the time to cover it. I've been wanting to cover it, but a couple of days ago, earlier in the week, it was announced that Kim Zolciak Biermann filed for divorce from her husband, Kroy Biermann. I think they were married, 11 years? Yeah, they have been married 11 years. They have 6 kids together. 2 Kim previously had. She's never been married. Kroy had never been married. And if I'm correct, I think there's like a 8-9 year age difference between the two. Now, let's keep it real. I've followed this couple for quite some time, many years ago when Kim was on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And Sheree actually introduced the two of them. When Kim got with Kroy, I was like, he too good for her. He's too good for her. He's young. He comes from a solid family. He has family values. He seemed like he had a beautiful mother and father that raised him well. He played in the NFL. He was doing good with his money. He wasn't all over the place like she was. So immediately that was a red flag for me. But up and away, they seem to have made it work in front of the camera. I really want to talk about this, right? Because this is one of those instances where, a lot of times we get on the men and how men treat women. But I feel like they were unequally yoked from the get-go. Because if the truth be told, if we're really just talking, Kim has always come across as WT to me, white trash. You know what I'm saying? For lack of a better word. And she seems like one of those white women that no reputable white man would have. No reputable white man would ever lay eyes or lay hands on her in the daytime, right? This is a woman that this is a Jezebel. And I'm not even trying to shade Kim, come down on Kim, but Kim had an open relationship with a married man. Now, granted, that married man, he was consenting to have that open relationship with her. But Kim has always been trash to me, always. Okay. And I also look at Kim as, I know a lot of people enjoyed her on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I didn't, because I feel like she was that one token white girl that was coming up off the backs of black women. I feel like she was rude. I feel like she said some very disparaging things about black women. When she kind of started feeling herself, used Kroy. And at the last reunion that she attended, she made a very, very despicable statement regarding, that's why you can't get any other white women to come on this show. Don't nobody want to be around these black women or something to that knowledge. So I already knew she was trash. She let her daughter disrespect the hell out of Nene's home. You know what I'm saying? So she's one of those white women to me, in my opinion. She's a reject. She's a reject from white society. She's a reject. She received an opportunity with an all black female cast, and she came up. And Bravo really favored her. Bravo allowed her to come up. They gave her own platform. There's no way in hell this woman should be in the financial trouble that she's in, for the simple fact she came up off the color of her skin and a very privileged, very, very privileged arrangement. So I said all of that to say, yeah, I was going to definitely comment on this, because I didn't like the arrangement with her on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I've always thought she received a lot of favoritism from the production team, from Andy Cohen. And yeah, I want to talk about it. Y'all want to talk about it? For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
You know what? Let me jump in. Andy, here's what you bet not do. You bet not bring her behind back on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is 2023. The last time she was there, she said some very unfavorable things about black women and nobody white wanting to work with black women. We know that. We know that, Kim, and not just in reality television. We feel that shit in corporate America every fucking day. So we understand that that's your viewpoint about black women. But what you better not do, Andy, is spin the damn block and bring her ass back on the show, knowing how she feels about being the only white woman on the cast. Now, that's what you're not going to do. Okay? Going on now. You had your platform to do what you were supposed to do with your white privilege, with your children, and you failed miserably. Now, if you go back and watch that show with Kim Zolciak, okay, look at the people that she hung out with. They were not noble, well-to-do white folks. The people that she had working for her was like people that she pulled somewhere from trailer parks. Go back. Did you ever see her around nice white housewives? Did you ever see her running in those upper echelon circles? Did you ever see her connected to anybody? No, because she's a reject. She's a throwaway. Let's call a spade a spade. But when you put her in a room full of black women, she appears to be the best thing since what? Pumpkin pie. And I really don't like how Andy utilized the backs of those black women to help this woman create a platform for herself, which she should have taken the ball and ran with it, right? But her lavish spending habits, her lavish need to fit in. That's the psychological piece. Because she has been rejected by white society, she tried to buy her way in, cover up her iniquities, cover up her flaws with label this, label that. Also with plastic surgery, both she and her daughters, right? Kim has transformed herself so much. And her daughters over the years, they don't even look like what they used to look like. You see what I'm saying? But still, they find themselves on the outs, right? Because we talked about change a while back. I said a lot of people focus on change, but they fail to realize that change happens in two phases. First on the inside, then on the outside. Sweetheart, you can cover it up all you want to on the outside, but you are still the same. Because wherever you go, there you are. And I low-key believe that Kim Zolciak is a female narcissist. I don't know that to be true, but I low-key believe that by the way that she treated Kroy. Kroy gave this woman his heart. He gave this woman his seed, produced child after child after child with her. This man gave this woman everything he had to ensure that she was successful. Everything. I'm not going to even talk about his money because that's not important to me. What I want to talk about is when women are seeking a good man, a man that's going to love you, a man that's going to propel you, get out the way so that you can spread your wings and fly. That's the kind of man that most women idealize for themselves, if that makes any sense. Think outside the box of his skin tone. I don't know if he's your type physically, but if you just think about the characteristics of a good man, Kroy is a good man. And I never understood that dynamic. You see what I'm saying? I never understood that dynamic. A while back, do y'all remember, not a while back, a couple of weeks ago when this whole Ebony K. Williams and Iyanla Vanzant conversation happened about would you marry a bus driver? And although Kroy is not a bus driver, he was an ex-NFL player. He became a fucking bus driver. He drove her all around the world. I remember they made a joke. Your Uber is outside because that man supported her. And she chewed him up and spit him out. She used that man. That man was there when you remember she had a stroke, y'all. She had a stroke. Okay. He was there. Never left her side. She's been in financial trouble before. He never left her side. She concocted fake ass storylines about working with this all black female cast. He was by her side. She became, very hard to work with on her way out. Very hard to work with. He was by her side. He had her back through and through. He's always been by her side. And she dogged that man out. and now she don't want him. Kroy is a good man. Hell, I've always thought Kroy. I've always thought Kroy was extremely handsome. And he took care of his children. If you have the opportunity to watch their show, he was extremely hands-on with his children. He was a disciplinarian. That was a man. Now, when we're talking about masculinity, in a world of a bunch of feminine men that are always crying and complaining about shit, that was not him. Now, if you want a man, a husband, a leader, a protector, and a provider, he did all of that. The man came into the story, into her life with money. So we're not talking about no white Pookie and Ray Ray. We're not talking about no Billy Bob. This was a man who was genuine, quiet spoken, raised right, and he got with her. Huge mistake, Kroy. And I really hope Kroy gets the therapy and the healing that he needs so that he can dust himself the hell off and continue to move forward. That man had a lucrative amount of retirement from the NFL, and she ran through that. Okay? This woman caused discord between this man and his family. Kroy didn't have no damn issues with his family before he met her. His family wanted better for him. His mother and his father saw right through her ass, and they wanted better for him. The only mistake that they made is they became too vocal about it. And Kim Zolciak utilized that and played off of his feelings, his heart, and his emotions for her as her husband, and somehow got this man to alienate, abandon his family. And guess what? Here we are now. Okay? Kim does not have a solid relationship with her family at all. And now I see why some moms are protective over their sons. But at the same point, when they become grown, it ain't really too much you can do. Because if you become too vocal, what happens is you get kicked out. You get the boot. But a good woman, a good wife, a woman that's good on the inside will not intentionally sow seeds of discord. Okay? She's a good wife, builds up and not tears down. And Kim ain't none of that, in my opinion. She is none of that. And they say, that there's rumors that she, according to a report from Radar Online, they revealed that Kim has been quietly preparing for a divorce for quite some time. I want to know why. I think she got bored. I think Kim got bored as reality television is quickly changing before our eyes. And I think she wants in. You use that man. You got a chance to see what it feels like to be a wife. He gave you beautiful children. Now you want back out there. She wants to get back out there in the market, y'all, and be in front of viewers and get back on reality television. And that's not a problem because we see married women do it all the time. The problem is you use this man. You never wanted Kroy. Kroy was a come up for you. You used Kroy to polish your dirty ass image, to clean you up, to make you appear to not be the trailer park trash that you are. And Kroy, you fell for it. You fell for it. I don't think Kroy would have ever left Kim. I think Kroy has a background that's solid where marriage is marriage. I don't think he would have ever left her. But I also think he had no idea that he was being used as a come up. Okay? Now he's indebted to this woman for life, this black widow for life by way of those kids. And then I saw an article that said, where her daughters have no issue with Kroy and they would like to continue the relationship that they've built. Of course they have no issue with Kroy. Kroy was a phenomenal man. He tried to get her. You remember when on one of those episodes, one of her daughters had boys in the room, okay, sneaking out? Kroy was trying to talk some sense into Kim about, hey, these are girls. We really gotta pour into them and set some boundaries. These are young women. She didn't even want to do that. She didn't even want to do that. Allow him to help as a male figure in the home. But I really hope Kroy is able to bounce back from this. I hope the judge does give him full custody of those kids. He's an excellent father. Kim is a horrible parent, in my opinion. Kim was drunk all the time on that show. Kroy poured into those kids. Kroy, do you remember when the dog bit the little boy in the face? Kroy was always working around that house, making sure those kids were eating right, all of that. Now, as much as I advocate for women, we got to keep it a buck and call a thing a thing. If I were the judge, I would heavily consider allowing this healthy, decent man to take full custody of his children. That's all I'm saying. But what are y'all's thoughts? Because I feel like I was up here ranting and raving. I'm not a Kim Zolciak fan. She's a user. She's always been a user. She's just, for me. So I wanted to come on and just cover that real quickly. What are your thoughts? Drop it in the chat.